Hey everyone, this is James with This Beautiful Crazy Life, and I have a real quick video here, and it's about the whole Dr. Seuss controversy. This has sort of blew up as another pinnacle of cancel culture, but I think that's the way to see this wrong. It's neither cancel culture or accountability culture. It's simply a change in time. Now, I think it's really easy to get a lot of things mixed up. I mean, we have the Confederate flag controversy where people want to get rid of the Confederate flag because they find it racist. Like, as a black man, I find that flag extremely offensive, but for some people, it's a heritage for them. And you also have the whole idea of the Confederate statues. Like, once again, for me, where my family literally grew up in the segregated South, either some of my uncles and aunts and my parents in the post-segregated South, which really wasn't that different in a lot of aspects, and it took years to get to where it is now, is extremely offensive and reminds my family of a time where they weren't treated fairly because that flag flew everything. I mean, even today, if you go to Alabama, on Martin Luther King Day, they also have Robert E. Lee Day. Robert E. Lee was a racist who took down a slave rebellion. To me, he's not a hero. And so we take all these things, whether it's this quote unquote cancel culture, where we cancel people for having certain views, which America has always done, always. But right now it's at the height with Twitter and social media, and it seems to be like this left-wing thing attacking conservative values. And so now you have conservatives, for the first time I ever seen, defending Dr. Seuss, who was like a staunch leftist. So we're living in pretty crazy times here. And then at the same time, you have people on the left who are saying, well, Dr. Seuss was a racist, even though he, was more complicated than that. If you start digging into it, you can start seeing a very complex view of this man's life. I mean, he was someone who worked for a magazine and made cartoons with these very terrible racist images. And then during World War II, he used war propaganda and made cartoons that depicted Japanese people in very unflattering ways. And later on, he changed his views and said he was swept up by the whole war movement. And after visiting Japan after the nuclear bombs, he made, Who's Horton, which was, and he became more left-leaning when he already was left-leaning, and became someone who didn't believe in racism, and then like the idea of nationalism and the idea of America first, which was this World War II ideology at the time, and was against isolationism, and was a supporter of civil rights movements and women rights movement, and was, a lot of his books were just leftist propaganda, essentially. And just to show that he was, in fact, a very complex man. And that's, I think, the best way to view Dr. Seuss. Like, he recognized, even the cartoons he was drawing earlier in his career were offensive and racist. And he apologized and felt shame for them. And then he dedicated part of his life to fight against nationalism and racism. And he was a feminist. And so it is kind of weird to see, I think if people knew some of his political views on the right, I don't know if they would be so, staunch to, defend him, since he was, a feminist. And I don't think it's a stretch today that he probably has more in common with your average democratic socialist than any conservative does today. So he's a complicated man who people could find issues with. But I think the point of this video is not to either defend him or cancel him. It's just to say people are complex. And so I think that's the best thing we can take from this. It's not to just put people in this box where they those cartoons I showed you earlier were pretty racist, let's just be clear, but that people grow and evolve and change. And as Christians, we should be the ones who always view people most as nuanced, because we were once sinners who were saved by grace, and that the Lord took all our complexities and nasties and he works through them on sanctification. And just like in any religious or non-religious sense, right, we all grow and we change because of new information and experiences. So this isn't really about, to me, whether to defend Dr. Seuss or not defend him. It's really about who was this man as a whole? And so I think today, if Dr. Seuss was alive, he probably wouldn't have a lot of problem retracting these books. I mean, when he was alive, some of these books images were already changed because he found them offensive. So that's just a quick take from me, guys. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys think this is cancel culture going too far, or accountable culture holding someone right? Or do you take my view that maybe it's just a little more nuanced than that? All right, guys, this is James with This Beautiful Crazy Life. I'll catch you guys later.